he had a girlfriend who he broke up with because he found a really hot girlfriend. And
this is your advice, basically.
No, so this is what he told me. Yeah, maybe it was my advice. So he found someone really hot, and he said, "यार सब कुछ ठीक जा रहा था, बहुत hot है, लेकिन वो मेरी girlfriend जो hot है, वो नहाती नहीं." So I was like, हाँ? He said, हाँ वो बिल्कुल नहीं नहाती और मैंने बहुत बार उसे deodorant दिया, शैम्पू दिया, साबुन दिया, बहुत सारे हिंट पास किए, लेकिन she doesn't have a bath. मैंने उसको टिप परसा पानी भी गूगल पे या यूट्यूब पे दिखाया कि नहाते हुए देखो कितनी खूबसूरत लगती है लड़की, लेकिन फिर भी उसके बावजूद she was not having a bath. So that he had a very big problem that she was just not bathing. And he said, तो मैं क्या करूँ? I said, छोड़ दो. I said, what do you mean नहाती नहीं है? How can you be with someone who stinks? So he was like, हाँ मैं जब किस करता हूँ तो बदबू आती है. I was like, तो बिल्कुल छोड़ दो. I said, क्यों छोड़ दिया तुमने पहले गर्लफ्रेंड से? ये hot निकले से hot भूल जाओ. Hot का क्या फायदा अगर गंदी है? तो he said, okay. Then he was the only follow-up call I got at the end of the season when we did the finale. He called and said, "Arey, thank you. I left them. I've gone back to my girlfriend. At least she has a bath, you know, and I'm happy." So I was like, "Chalo, very good." So I was quite perplexed initially because you don't realize. And there was this girl, daughter-in-law who called me. She just got married, and she said, "I've lied to my mother-in-law that I'm vegetarian because actually," he said, "मैं चुप-चुप के office में chicken खाती हूँ." So she said, "But once from my dabba, the mother-in-law has found this haddi." Of the chicken. It was like in the vegetarian dabba. So the mother-in-law's of course thrown this big fit. And she's saying, "What do I do?" So I said, "What do you mean, what will you do? You either choose chicken or your husband, no? One of them, you either one. You must be having one more than the other, then you decide." She was really, so there are problems like this that you would imagine are really not very large problems, but to them, it's the end of their life. Like they were like, what went? And then of course there are the emotional ones and the ones, and there was even a boy who rang me up, and it was quite, I mean, heartbreaking when he called me and said that, you know, "Arey, I've got married, but I'm not interested in my wife, I'm gay." So I said, "Then why did you get married?" So he says, "No, but now she's getting upset that I don't want to have sex with her." So I was like, obviously she's going to get upset. I mean, she's going to blame herself that you're not, she's probably feeling all kinds of, you know, issues in her head. I said, "You go and she think, nahi, main mummy papa ko kaise bolu, unka dil toot jayega." I said, "What about your wife?" I'm like, you know, so there are also those grave situations that you address and handle those emotionally. Some are whack job calls, but some are also really intense, serious situations.
It's amazing that people are genuinely calling, you know, otherwise they'll always call with that one question, "I'm in love with my best friend."
No, a lot of people like ask me and say, "Oh, are these made up?" I'm like, not at all. These are legit calls with people with real issues. And the fact that they're talking to you, you feel obliged to give them the right kind of advice.
There's so much advice is very specific to a situation, but what I always say is that, you know, don't be worried about breaking your heart or a broken heart, because I think there's something very strong about, like, even a broken heart. It can empower you in so many ways, and I think we get so terrified of like being heartbroken or being hurt, and that sometimes you stay away from the possibility of a relationship. But I feel it's fine because, you know, it could, like I said earlier, it could completely empower you. And sometimes when something breaks, it solidifies you to a larger extent. And I think that I would tell anybody, like, just jump right into it, yeah, it's fine. So what if you won't get reciprocated with the same amount of love? So what if sometimes the intensity doesn't match yours? But what you will go through, that feeling of love that you will feel, it will nurture you in many, many ways.
I'm going to start with you, Ran. What, as far as you're concerned, what according to you is the ultimate deal breaker in a relationship? And so on and so on.
Not taking a bath for one, 100%. Sorry? Not taking a bath, 100%. Great advice. Lying.
Lying.
You do anything, and if you know that I'm your guy, I'll be there, I'll get you out of the situation, or I'll try. Anything. But if you lie to me, then I'm not your guy. Simple.
My intention is not to spark off a debate, Karan, but would you be okay with that? Like if yeah?
I have no problem.
So what would be a deal breaker?
I mean, I don't I don't want to sound, when you said bohemian, I'm not bohemian. I'm just more of a realist. And I think that sometimes you lie in relationships. You lie about, like, you know, sometimes even sexual infidelity, sometimes I feel should not be considered infidelity, because sometimes you slip in a moment.
I want you to jump in.
It doesn't mean that you should break off your relationship because one of you had a sexual moment with somebody.
Yes,
it happens.
Okay, question, Karan, question for you. Why not? So sexual infidelity will not.
I'm saying it's not, it's situation specific. You have to go into why it happened, and if you own up to it and you chat about it, it doesn't mean you should end your relationship. Maybe it was something that you slipped and it happened in a moment, and it's fine. Things happen.
If it happens, don't lie about it. Let the other person decide what has to be done.
Yeah, but
don't lie about it.
Sometimes you will lie also.
Would you be okay?
Not always. Sometimes you have to like.
Here's the thing. If my wife lies about how many pounds she spent on a shoe because she doesn't want me to be upset with it,
Oh no,
that's okay.
that's clever.
That's smart. That's actually smart. These, like my mom and everybody says, are white lies. It's okay. But if something like that happens, the first thing.
For example, let me give you a situation. She meets like an old friend.
Hey.
Suppose she met an old friend.
Suppose
she
you're
met an old
with.
friend and they had a vibe and they just spoke, but nothing happened. And she had whatever. And you said, "What did you do tonight?" And she said, "Nothing. I stayed in." Now that is, she didn't do anything. So why should she lie and break your heart for no reason? Because
She
nothing
should
happened.
tell me she had a vibe. She
No,
should
but
tell me.
why are you
Let
becoming
me-
this
let me-
Justice Chaudhary?
Because next time I won't send her there alone. No more vibing.
Arey nahi yaar. You also, even you are allowed
I tell
to lie
her.
once in a
I
while.
tell her.
No, I think
Thoda
so.
vibe.
But this Satyamev Jayate now that we can't come back now. This now.
Okay, no, I'm gonna pass this on to Imtiaz. I'm gonna pass this to you. I'm gonna come to you, Malini, as well. So,
It would be nice to come to Malini. She's meant to moderate this session.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, go for it. It's a good
Not
question.
you.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
No,
Go for it.
I'm
Yeah, you go ahead.
okay. Sorry. So, Imtiaz, lying, sexual infidelity, or is it something else?
I think the only deal breaker is the fact that you don't want to be with the person anymore.
Correct. I was just going to say that, falling out of love.
Yeah, if you fall out of love, then that's the only deal
That's
breaker.
it.
Everything else, like whatever, floats the boat, I feel. Sometimes things that you think you will not pardon, you do, because you get to know the specifics of them. Sometimes you think that things are not important, but then when it happens, it becomes important. I think ultimately, if I were to ask myself honestly, if I want to be with a person, I'll be with her anyway.
And have you ever been in love with someone but still cheated on them?
No. I don't think it's possible actually.
Right?
If you're in love,
I love Karan! You should have season 12.
If you have that instinct, it has not happened. I mean, I would have liked my life to be richer in those aspects, but it's not very. So the few examples that I can think of, it hasn't happened to me, and I don't think it's possible. Maybe it is, and I'll tell Karan, help me. But
Arey nahi
not
hota
yet.
yaar. I'm telling you, you're a very role model type of
I
person.
think there's a mix of it, right?
Okay, so I'm going to confess on Karan's behalf, and this is a true story, that there was someone he was in love with, and he was flying from New York to London, and he broke up with that person because the only thing he had on his mind that time was that he was flying to London and he could only think of Selfridges. So he chose shopping over the love of his life.
It was not love of my life. It was
But-
in my relationship.
yeah.
I just felt that I really wanted to buy those pair of shoes.
It's as simple as that.
but that's
This is no
it
grey,
just
this is
meant
black
that
and
I
white.
wasn't that deeply involved. And I
Yeah.
told you that story, and I can't believe that was the story you were going to tell everyone. It was not so. It was not a confession. It was a real life story.
So give us a couple of examples of the things that you think it's okay to call and ask. What is it that you encourage people to come and ask?
Well, there are all kinds of. I mean, the one thing that I really realized is that the deep amount of office romances that happen.
Really?
There's so many office romances, and some are hinging on even infidelity. Some are like Then there's also like exploitation romances, and there is like boss and assistant romances, and then there is pushing the power button in office romance, and there are lots of office dynamics and workspace dynamics that come up a lot. And sometimes they are fun situations, some of them are really kind of tragic as well, when people feel that they just because, and what was interesting is once there was a woman who called, and a man actually called, and said that his female boss was like exploiting him, and I thought that was such a refreshing problem, because it's always the other way around, and I'm like, well done, whoever this woman was. And I was like, yeah, but I didn't say that, and he was really traumatized. He said, she keeps wanting to have sex with me, and I don't want to because I'm her junior, and I'm scared the word will get out. And sometimes some offices have policies against like people getting into romances.
not sometimes.
Yeah,
every
it's actually,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, so there
All
are. I mean, I discovered that I don't know. I suddenly started walking on the corridors of my own office, wondering like, what must be happening here? Because I'm here. Because I was like, I'm thinking it's a legit environment of people working, but clearly not. And sometimes, many a time when people are missing from their like cabins, I now know what's happening. And the one thing that I would like everyone here in this auditorium and people who are listening or hearing whatever, is the one thing I would advise people to not do is PDA. It's the most unbearable thing when people are in a relationship. I'm like, get a room, go to the toilet, go to the washroom, do it in any other place, not in front of the whole world. We don't want to see you smothering each other's faces in public. It's really annoying.
I have to say,
Are you driven by reclamation?
So basically the last few rows, समझ गए?
Those guys in the dark, we're going to put the light on you.
It's easy to say also on some degree, but there's a lot of people who don't have anywhere to go.
No, it may be so, and that I understand. But the people I've seen indulge in PD
They
have
have
many
something.
places to go. You know, and I want to tell you, why do you need to hold someone's hand also? Like what? They are fine. They can walk on their own. You know, why are you holding their hand? Unless you need to help them up the stairs or something. She has a bad knee or he has a bad foot or a broken knee. Why are you holding hands? Why are you kissing each other? Why are you playing with each other's hair?
I have a question for Karan
I
here.
also-
Why is it upsetting you so much?
It's bloody annoying. I'm like, listen,
Why?
keep it in
Why?
your pants.
Who do you call? Because you have problems. You gotta call someone. Who do you call?
My conscience.
But so actually, exactly what you're saying. If I could give myself some advice, it would be don't be so clingy. So literally, I think.
Clingy is okay, chalo, that's exciting. As long as you're not literally physically clinging, that is very annoying. I want to wake up and slap those couples across the face. I tell you, I feel deep amounts of violence when I see couples.
Karan, and somebody was calling you. What do you think you would tell them if they just? I'm going to ask you each a question, okay? And then Karan can tell you if that's the same advice.
Like answer as in we were Karan.
Yeah,
Okay.
as Karan would. Okay.
This feels like an exam now.
It's an exam, yeah, basically. So if someone called you and said that they are in love with their best friend's girlfriend, I don't know if you got this question.
I know the answer. You want to finish the question or should I just
No,
jump?
go for it.
Yeah. So best friend's girlfriend. So Karan would say that listen, I think you should be completely honest and you should go for it if you're in love. Is she in love with you? And if the answer to that is yes, she's also turned around and said that yeah, a couple of times she's in love with me. Then it would definitely be that be honest everywhere. Don't break 3 hearts, just break 1. That's the guy in the middle, and that's what Karan would say.
Wrong. I would say that's not good.
What would you say?
Because, I mean, if he's your best friend and that's the girlfriend, then that's out of boundary. That is something that I don't. I think boundaries are
Oh
very
yes, I know this answer.
Interest
Of course I know this.
That's
You
the
can't
exact
break
How
the bro
did you
code.
even
Oh, I
get
forgot.
interested
Bro code.
in how did you even get interested in your best friend's girlfriend? How did it shouldn't happen.
प्यार हो जाता है sometimes.
You're right.
But अगर हो जाता
Sometimes you
है,
can get interested, yeah, or sometimes.
no,
you-
but I'm saying अगर हो जाता है, then you should break
I
one
feel
heart
like
instead
you
of
have to just be very. You have to clean cut that dynamic. It's not cool. It's not cool. If you don't do that to your best friend,
Yeah.
I mean that's not. It doesn't happen. Sometimes it happens with like I got a call with saying that I fell in love with my brother's girlfriend. I've got that as well, you know, and like I'm like that is not cool
That's
at
too
all.
much, yeah.
But there are weird people. I mean, the shit happens. You can fall in love. You can feel emotion, but you can't go through with it because that's where that willpower really comes in.
I love Rannvijay Kapoor a lot.
That's a question.
No,
You like Rannvijay Kapoor a lot.
yeah.
That's wonderful.
Can you please make him meet me someday?
Make him meet you someday. No. You said I was raw. This is as raw as it gets. Not possible.